screen in theater, and Lewis followed him up on that advice. All those years, too afraid to approach Rickman, and is glad he at least had that moment with him. The first time David Dismulchen, who played Peiter de Vries, got a look at the Baron was when the villain emerged from a shroud of steam while they were filming, and it freaked Dismulchen right out. He just scared the crap out of me. It was awesome. While Dismulchen found the
Let's pause it. Head back to my apartment and head to school. Pause it. Head to bed. Five in the morning. Head to Hogwarts. Catch a train instead of walking. Train station. Where the fuck is the train station is at? Fuck. Die. Molotov. Fire. Come on, just die already. Go, go, go. Shit. Huh. Sucks it. Put out this fire. Let's head to Hogwarts. Catch a train. Shit. The fuck? There we are. Head to the train station now. Train station. Follow the tracks here. Head back to of Hogwarts. Here we are. Head to the school train station. Sit down and write. You too, buddy. Head to Hogwarts. Let's chill here, buddy. Smoke. What's YouTube?
Other than, the images that were released when we were filming, we didn't see him at all.
Heath Ledger took his role as the Joker incredibly seriously. He locked himself away for 6 weeks to nail every mannerism of the character. The first time Michael Caine saw Heath Ledger, once again, while the camera was rolling, the guy froze in fear.
Who are people going to be most scared by? Is it going to be Joker? Is it going to be Two-Face?
Joker. The Joker would do it.
When the bloody door opened on that lift, he came tearing out. I forgot every line. Terrifying. Caine isn't exaggerating, and is quite complimentary of the actor.
It's one of the scariest performances I've ever seen.
And Maggie Gyllenhaal had a similar experience. When he grabbed her, her immediate instinct was to try and pull away. She couldn't look him in the eye, which prompted the improvisation from Ledger to say, "Look at me." Despite the fear he distilled in her, she loved it, saying, "I actually had a great time working with him because anything I threw at him, he would take it and throw all sorts of amazing things at me." Lupita Nyong'o would work on her acting off-screen, which freaked out her co-star, Shahadi Wright-Joseph.
She really kind of spooked me out a little bit because she would really get into character and wouldn't talk.
We'll admit, that would freak us out a little bit, too.
It was kind of creepy.
But despite that, Shahadi said it was a lot of fun for her to experience all those other sides of Lupita's character. Remember the boat scene from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? It's a bit hard to forget, given how creepy it was.
They didn't know what I was going to do.
Imagine how it would have felt to be one of the child actors on that thing, especially when the director didn't tell the actors what Gene Wilder was planning for the scene.
A chance to be scared and terrified.
This uncertainty made them uncomfortable, but the creepy song put it over the top for sure. When Wilder started talking all crazy like, Denise Nickerson, who played Violet, thought that Wilder was actually going mad from being in the tunnel. There wasn't a whole lot of acting going on, just genuine fear and confusion.
But I really let him have it.
Shelley Duvall spent a lot of the Shining shoot actually in distress since the director wanted to keep her crying as authentically as possible. This really took its toll on Duvall, as The Shining still holds the Guinness record for highest number of retakes of a shot with dialogue. This leaves her in a very vulnerable place for when she's acting opposite Jack Nicholson. The scene with the baseball bat was absolutely terrifying for her, partially because the danger felt so real, but partially because they took 3 weeks to film it. Poor Duvall said she'd cry when she woke up in the morning over the idea of having to cry more all day, and she just wanted the experience to end. But she was impressed by her co-star, saying, "Jack was so good, so damn scary."
You think maybe he should be taken to a doctor?
So, actors can be scared of their acting partners for all sorts of different reasons. Surprise, stress, and unpredictability are just some of the mind games that happen in the studio. And then there is the physical side, the real danger, the weird makeup and prosthetics. But behind the characters is quite often a genuinely good person who just wants to do a good job. And maybe some of that fear just isn't justified. Alan Rickman sounds like he was a big softie when it came to children. Which experience do you think would be scariest to you? Despite Severus Snape scaring the slugs out of the kid actors, Alan Rickman had a heart of gold and an upward battle in front of him to dispel that terrifying mystique. Let's get started. Everyone, it's time to
turn to page 394.
Everybody loves a good fart joke, and that includes the dark arts teacher at Hogwarts, or should we say dark farts teacher? Maybe not. Excuse us. So, here's how the real scene went down.
Friend dreams we enter a world that's entirely our own. Let them swim in the deepest ocean.
Alright, now let's check out this awesome prank instigated by Alan Rickman.
In our dreams, we enter completely our own world.
See the blush on Danny's face?
Really, really funny.
And for you?
That's because his crush was curled up into a sleeping bag next to him.
We like to swim in the deepest waters.
This is one of those you said it, not me moments.
Let's have a joint foot
It's so
back.
annoying.
Seeing Rickman smile in costume is a rare occurrence. But Radcliffe calling himself and the other child actor
What the fuck are you? Go to hell. Go to hell. Go to hell. Huh.
annoying sure brought a smile to his face. Despite the playful banter, Rickman loves kids and always wanted to have kids of his own. He figured he just had to settle for the cast of kids in Harry Potter instead. Now this is probably the most heartwarming thing Rickman ever did. Imagine having Severus Snape himself advocate for you to be part of the magical world of Harry Potter. Well, that's exactly what happened with a 15-year-old boy named Jay, who was battling stage 4 neuroblastoma. When Alan Rickman, in character, asked, "Why isn't this child in the film?"
Great gifts delivered fast. With free express delivery with ep1.
When Alan Rickman, in character, asked, "Why isn't this child in the film?" and took Jay by the hand and placed him in the crowd of kids. Supposedly, this was the scene they were filming at the time, but unfortunately, the take wasn't used in the film. Either way, it still would have been pretty magical to find yourself in the middle of the cast of Harry Potter.
Ridiculous!
Now, let's get into the juicy stuff. Did you know Rickman almost quit the franchise after the second movie? He wasn't happy with the lack of progression in his character and didn't want to keep playing the evil type for evil's sake. And Joe Rowling hadn't finished writing the books at the time, so Rickman had no idea what was in store for Snape come the end of the series. Rowling told him a secret that changed everything for him, and he never spilled the secret to anyone.
There was more to him than met the eye.
While Rowling has revealed on Twitter, she told him what lies behind the word.
Oh,
What exactly she said is still a mystery, but we've got some pretty good theories. Do you have any idea what that secret might be? Kids will be kids, and as it turns out, on-set classrooms can be pretty darn close to the real thing. Rupert Grint is pretty lucky that Alan Rickman isn't as humorless as his film persona, though. While filming a potion lesson scene, he drew a caricature of Rickman.
As I was drawing it, Alan Rickman was standing right behind me, and I was so scared.
Honestly, we would be too, Rupert. Especially if it's as nasty as we're imagining it to be.
I made him sign it, and I have it in my possession.
Did you know Alan Rickman actually studied graphic design? So yeah, he knows good art when he sees it. The only thing more confusing than magic is technology. Oliver Phelps taught the dark arts teacher a thing or two about it after he was gifted an iPod. The best part was, while they filmed the Great Hall scenes, Rickman tried to hide the thing under his robe and wig. Don't worry, this costume was washed. It just never changed. While Alan Rickman wanted a character that developed and progressed, he felt exactly the opposite about his costume.
Good luck today, Potter. Of course.
Rickman even got a say in the design of his costume.
I said the sleeves should be really tight, and there should be a lot of buttons.
The costume department never told him that they had to loosen everything a bit after he returned from holidays. Honestly, that was kind of nice of them. We can't say we would want to know either. Once Rickman puts on the Severus Snape wardrobe, he immediately drops into character. Maybe it's something to do with those tight sleeves or buttons. Maybe it's the hair. It's gotta be that heavy cape slowing him down and raising his schnoz. We're not sure, but anyway, it's super intimidating. While Alan, in costume, made all of the child actors nervous, he always had a little troop of children visiting the set. And when he sat down to lunch with them, he would have to throw a big old bib on top to protect his costume. It would pretty much destroy that intimidating aura. Young, old, or anything in between, Alan Rickman never saw that as a reason to look down on somebody else. Upon his passing, Daniel Radcliffe said, "As an actor, he was one of the first adults on Potter to treat me like a peer rather than a child." On Alan's last day of filming, Matthew Lewis approached Rickman to say thank you. Specifically, to say thank you for not once in 10 years
Ever shouting at me or treating any of us anything less than your equal.
There's no reason to cry over a spilled milkshake. Unless, of course, you spill that milkshake in Alan Rickman's car. The car. We think it's perfectly reasonable that he banned Rupert Grint and Matthew Lewis from being within 5 meters of his brand new BMW after the milkshake mishap that happened a year earlier. Who do you think did it? Honestly, for us, it's a toss-up between the two. Alan Rickman's eyes aren't naturally black. Surprise! They're actually a soulful, less intimidating hazel color. So to darken them up, he had to wear contacts throughout the entire filming process. When Mike Newell joined the team as the director of Goblet of Fire, he complimented the richness of Rickman's eyes, and he responded by popping out one of the lenses. Alan constantly found himself impressed by the sets in Harry Potter. He never stopped.
Being fascinated by picking up my wand and poking the wall.
We wonder if this admiration comes down to his graphic design training. The actor that we think is Oliver Phelps recalls a pretty funny and yet simultaneously terrifying moment when Snape hit Ron on the back of the head with a book. Oliver couldn't help but giggle, which is totally on brand for the character to laugh at his little brother, but remembers having that smile wiped off his face when he got the eye from Snape. A totally unplanned moment.
I kind of think, oh my god, he's going to hit me as well.
Did you know Alan Rickman was a bank thief? Okay, he robbed Gringotts Bank. It isn't exactly the worst crime in the world. By the end of filming on the first day at Gringotts, Rickman had nabbed all the coins. That isn't his only successful moment of stealing either. He stole some of those letters that the Owls brought and sold them online, one of which he got $25,000 for. Speaking of Maggie Smith, Rickman admitted to having a huge admiration for her, as he used to watch her perform on the National Theatre stage. So, when their big performances together relied mostly on CGI, he found it just a bit awkward.
Holding a wand is not the most threatening.
The word that gets passed around the most from cast members and friends is that Alan Rickman was a generous human being. And that pretty much sums him up perfectly, doesn't it? Now, we have one question to send us out. What do you think he was listening to?
What else should I watch? Let's watch a movie. Movie. Let's watch. Should I watch? Nope. Let's watch the kid who would be king. The kid who would be king. Hey yo. Come on. Where the fuck is skip here. Yes. Skip. There we are.
Uther Pendragon. But when Uther died without an heir, the land was torn apart by war. Many tried to claim the throne and fought bitterly and endlessly. People's hearts grew hopeless and hollow. The country became lost and leaderless. So the wizard Merlin conjured a magical sword in a stone called Excalibur and declared that only Uther's true heir could pull it free. Many tried, but only one succeeded. A boy named Arthur, who had no idea he was Uther's long-lost son. Arthur grew into a great king. He turned his enemies into allies and ruled at a round table so that all were equal. He and his knights lived by a code of chivalry, their hearts pure and noble. But their greatest foe was Arthur's own half-sister, Morgana. Convinced she was the rightful heir and desperate to possess Excalibur, she turned to dark sorcery. Arthur fought a fearsome battle against her and bound her into the bowels of the earth, but not before she swore dark vengeance.
When you are long gone, when hearts are hollow and the land is lost and leaderless again, I will return.
And so will the sword.
Alex, you're gonna be late.
Okay. I'm coming as fast as I can. The homework's all over the kitchen table.
You know, every time you sleep in and skip breakfast, it's like starting the day on an empty battery.
I know.
Maybe if you hadn't left that till last thing the night before. Damn. Here. Arming rate.
Oh no. Excuse me. You rule the school. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing either of us can do.
Huh.
This isn't junior school anymore. We're nothings now. We're the most insignificant, powerless people in the school. Hey! I learned a new trick. Hold out your hand. Now squeeze as hard as you can.
Let's have another giant.
Abracadabra. I make a sound. Open your hand.
Alex, are you okay? It's not true, is it?
Huh.
Bennett, tell your dad we've got homework together. Come across the garden walls. You've got to see what I found.
Let's have another giant can.
The sword has returned.
The sword must be mine.
Let's have another giant.
Maybe it's a prank. A YouTube thing. A social experiment. Maybe there were hidden cameras. Look. There's something written on the guard. Put it into Google Translate. Gladius. Arturi. Filius. Tintagel. Knights of the Round Table. I used to know it off by heart. It's not Tintagel, it's Tintagel. And Tintagel's not a person, it's a place. The island off the coast of Cornwall. There's an old ruined castle there. Some people say it's where King Arthur was born. I went there once, when I was 5. It's where my dad lived. The last time I ever saw him. It's where I was when he gave me this book. He even signed it. Look. To Alex, my once and future king.